Good morning, this is Kellaland on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Police are still looking for one of the suspects related to Friday's Amber Alert in Sioux Falls.
It's not the first time she's faced criminal charges. 29-year-old Lilana Sitting Up is wanted for allegedly kidnapping a 1-year-old boy Thursday night.
She's also wanted for past crimes, including fleeing from police and aggravated eluding law enforcement.
More than 250 jobs at a meat processing plant in Yankton are on the chopping block. A notice from Cimpl's LLC on the South Dakota Department of Labor and Regulations website says 277 jobs are impacted in the decision to stop the plant's harvest and fabrication operations.
The move is expected to be permanent in nature. Yankton Mayor Mason Schramm is now looking forward to what comes next.
There's really no changing what's happening. How can we pivot and move forward and try to help all those that are being impacted the best we can? So there's opportunity for employers in town that have openings. There's hardworking people that are going to be out of a job here today.
Schramm says roughly 550 jobs are available in Yankton at the moment.
Lake Byron can be a hub for snow geese this time of year.
However, this year, thousands of dead geese have washed up on the shores throughout the lake, with South Dakota Game, Fish and Parks telling residents that bird flu is the likely cause.
They seem to float from one side to the other. Whatever way the wind's from, we can look on the other side the next day, and there they are, just balled up.
Lake Byron is located just north of Huron. The geese are being buried nearby on land owned by South Dakota Game, Fish and Parks.
Now let's get a check on our weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. How's it going over there, Brian?
Well, watching the weather, we've got a number of things to track here with the potential for winter storm conditions for parts of the region. Let's go to the maps on that. You can see that the winter storm warning for the Black Hills is still there. In fact, some of those headlines have been expanded up toward Buffalo, and a winter weather advisory for Rapid City. So be aware of that with snowfall rates increasing this morning. Separate from that, but also part of the same storm system, a blizzard will be taking shape the next 24 hours across eastern and central Nebraska. It will take a turn to the north and northeast and cut through northwest Iowa and portions of south central Minnesota. This blizzard does not include Sioux Falls, but Sioux Falls is technically under a winter weather advisory. We'll get into details. We'll talk more about the forecast coming up.
Thank you, Brian. Rapid City firefighters had an interesting call for service over the weekend.
According to a post on Facebook from the Rapid City professional firefighters, crews were called to help Game, Fish and Parks with a young mountain lion stuck in a tree on the south side of the city.
The group shared these photos of the animal. The cat was tranquilized and relocated once it fell from the tree.
A restaurant in the Lake Lorraine area of Sioux Falls is celebrating its grand opening this week.
Railbird Sports Bar took over the Sandbar and Grill earlier this year, but now it's also celebrating the opening of its casino side. That's all about off-track betting on horse and dog races.
Sioux Falls has had several OTBs over the last 25 years, but never one that offered what we're going to offer. We have this full restaurant here that if you want to come in for lunch or supper, you're going to be able to eat in the OTB side.
The restaurant side of Railbirds has been open for a while now, but the off-track betting area officially opens tomorrow.
All week long, though, they're celebrating their grand opening with drink specials and even a chance for customers to win tickets to the Vikings and Lions game in the next NFL season.
Opening weekend at the newest addition to downtown Sioux Falls was a success.
Shenanigans Sports Bar and Grill is well established on the west side of Sioux Falls, but announced an expansion to the former Papa Woody's location in February and opened last week, just in time for St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Our first weekend was we thought a success downtown on Phillips. It's a great area. It's a smaller atmosphere. We loaded it up with TVs, but we look forward to being able to provide that downtown, being able to have the same kind of things that we've done for 30 plus years.
The West Side location opened at 8 a.m. on Monday with live music and St. Patrick's Day themed foods. That wasn't the case downtown, but plenty of people still showed up to celebrate the holiday.
Shenanigans downtown will open at 11 a.m. 7 days a week.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get another check your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right. Well, today's weather forecast not at 75 like what we had yesterday. That was very nice again. Quite a treat after the cool down that we had this weekend. But today we're kind of switching the other direction, aren't we? We're in the low to mid 50s early this afternoon. We'll aim for high, maybe close to 57, but not nearly as warm. And of course, with a northeast wind, you'll feel the difference today. We also have the onset of snow. It's already been falling this morning up in the Buffalo and Bison area. This snowfall will be working its way into the Black Hills. So a winter storm warning in the pink and a winter weather advisory in the blue. So the warning area, 4 to 8 inches of snowfall. Pretty likely. Separate from that, but also connected with the same system in mind, a blizzard track coming out of northeast Nebraska into northwest Iowa. This is going to be starting here late tonight. It's going to ramp up tomorrow morning. A lot of wind already at daybreak in Sioux Falls and across much of the blizzard warning area. So any snow that is falling becomes a little more problematic. And again, that does include northwest Iowa. But I will tell you, there's still some modeling differences on how many inches of snow are going to fall. It's complicated this time of year. You got a lot of things that run, tug the numbers one way or another. And certainly Storm Track is one in particular. Most of the newest data coming in this morning is probably on the lower side of these thresholds. So when we put out a trace to a couple of inches in Sioux Falls, we're definitely at that point where we can, talk about the winter weather advisory that's in effect. But I also want to caution you that the air potential on this, if anything, would continue to drift the system a little bit farther south and east. But obviously, you look at Cherokee and Spencer, Iowa, the threat is there for a narrower zone of concentrated snowfall rates combined with wind, and that equals blizzard conditions. So we definitely want to make sure that you're well aware of that. Stay tuned to the forecast. We'll keep you posted with the wind and all the rest that goes into that. Now, this is the outlook for western South Dakota. And again, it's fairly heavy in the Black Hills. 4 to 8 inches of snowfall, Lead and Deadwood. Rapid, not nearly as much, looking at a trace to a couple of inches of snow. And then 3 to 6 in Buffalo, where the forcing there is a little bit better. If you're in Aberdeen, Mobridge, this one is very, very low too. Even though it's kind of teasing us on Futurecast at times with some snowfall, I definitely want to make sure we're addressing that subject. But it just probably doesn't have a lot of potential to cling very long. Certainly temperatures today are still above freezing in those locations. Here, too, you're above freezing. And most of this kind of moves around you. Even winter, I would say at this point, is a fairly low impact. We've got the wind. We've got some of that to deal with. And there could be a little snow, but it's going to move in, move out very quickly, whatever does manage to fall. It's the southeast and that southeast corner that gets hammered the most out of this one here. 9 a.m. in the morning, looks like snow and wind there, northwest Iowa. And then it moves out quickly. It's not going to stick around. We get some sunshine going, and you know how fast snow disappears in mid-March. I mean, it just doesn't take long in any amount. Even if you get that worst-case scenario with the heavier numbers in northwest Iowa, it'll start melting right away, and we'll continue that story into tomorrow. So here and done. Winds, this is one thing we feel very confident about. We've got a stiff northeast wind today, running up to about 30 miles per hour. But take a look at some of these wind numbers late tonight. We're back to 50 miles an hour again out of the north, and that's going to be a drying wind. That's why we always say, too, the northern flank of these systems, usually there's a really sharp cutoff on snow. So that's another reason why Sioux Falls is on that lower end of the forecast. But man, you got to look at those wind numbers in northwest Iowa. That's a lot, isn't it? 60 miles an hour or more. So we want to make sure we're paying close attention to those sharper cutoffs, because the difference and the dramatic change in the weather can be pretty interesting there over a short distance in northwest Iowa. So there we are. Highs today 61 in Spencer ahead of the blizzard, and then the 7-day forecast. We find the middle ground in the low to mid 50s Thursday and Friday. We're thinking right now, Aberdeen in the northeast, also in the 50s for the most part. Lows at night, not bad. I think going into the weekend, mainly in the low to mid-20s. There could be a system this weekend. Sunday, you can see some of that precipitation. That's a mover from the northwest, probably not going to bring us a lot, but does entertain the possibility of some light rain, maybe a little light snow. And for Rapid City of the West, it also looks like a couple of periods of wind could sneak back in here, with highs leveling out in the mid-50s on Thursday and still in the 50s this weekend. More details on the winter weather at KELOLAND.com.